I think it's fair to say that all or most of our listeners will have physicians who are patients of yours. And I think if you think about that, you'll realize that that is true. And what I encourage you to do is to ask physicians in your practice. I'm deliberately identifying physicians. Ask physicians to write you a testimonial that you can put on your website. And the reason for that has to do with another fundamental principle of influence by Robert Cialdini. You know, he talks about 6 fundamental principles of influence. This one is about authority. Authority. A simple way to think about that is that you know, let's use this. If Oprah Winfrey recommends a book for Oprah's book club, whatever that book is will instantly become a New York Times bestseller. Would you agree with that, Nair?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so she has a book club and she'll recommend books, and it could be an author that nobody's ever heard of. It could be a topic nobody's ever heard of. It'll be a title that no one's ever heard of. And yet, because Oprah recommended it for her book club, Oprah vetted it. She thought it was useful. She thought it'd be useful for her book club members, and she puts it as the book club choice, blows up. You know, it literally becomes a bestseller. And so when you have a testimonial, and likely these patients will, because they're in healthcare, they're likely to be, you know, more engaged with you, and you know them and they know you, and they'd be happy to do that. And imagine a glowing physician, glowing testimonial from a physician where it's signed at the end, you know, so-and-so MD, so-and-so MD. Now, the people that see that don't even have to know who that physician is. You got the credentials from the initials after their name, the MD. Now, I'm not suggesting that every testimonial be from a physician, but imagine that if you had some testimonial, maybe, you know, on a scrolling at the top of certain pages, imagine every 4th or 5th one was from a physician. Then the person on your website is going to look at it and say, wow, if healthcare, you know, physicians are choosing your office for their care and they know what's going on when it comes to healthcare, boy, that's good enough for me. Comment, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few comments I want to make. First one is, this is the principle that Dr. Robert Cialdini calls authority. And what he's saying is, when we listen to authority figures, we listen to people we think are experts. Why? Because we have been trained that way from the time we are children. Like, you're a 5-year-old, you go to school and your mom says, you need to listen to the teacher. She is the person in charge. You need to listen to the principle. So we look up to these people who are put on a pedestal. As a child, these are taught to us by our parents, and then the teacher says, here is the principal, here is the gym teacher, and then we create all these perceptions in our mind. But as we grow older, and especially in that video culture that we live in, when somebody's on TV, like that's the example that Gary shared, Oprah, we think she's an expert because we see her all the time and we feel like she knows what she's talking about. Similarly, when you are an insider, we think you are an expert. So let's say, this is true. My father had dementia. He passed away now. When he got dementia, who did I talk to? I talked to my cousin who was a doctor. I talked to friends of mine who were doctors. And I asked them, what is this? How to think about it? Who should I take my dad to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why? Because my mind says, this is serious. I don't want to just go to anybody. I want to go to someone that the experts trust. So what Gary is talking about with doctor reviews is the same idea. You want to collect reviews from experts, in this case, other doctors, because remember, you went to medical school, they went to medical school, and you're both experts. So people trust you because you guys know the subject of medicine, healthcare. So we have a tool for that. It's called doctorschoiceawards.org. It's free. It's on the internet, doctorschoiceawards.org. Use that tool and you can create your own profile. Once you have your profile, get friends of yours, colleagues of yours to write those reviews. That's the key part. Like, how do you get these, people to write reviews? If you were to just send an email saying, give me a testimonial, it's not going to happen. But if you send an email saying, hey, I have been nominated to Doctor's Choice Awards, can you take a minute to share your thoughts on me? Send it to your friends, send it to people you went to school with, people you meet at conferences, even your patients who are doctors, anybody who can put the 2 letters DR in front of their name. So I think it's very, very, very powerful. And then Gary, like Gary said, leverage it, leverage it, leverage it. You can put it on your website, all kinds of places, and even in your office, you can leverage it. So just leverage those reviews from those doctors.